Now, continue to our earlier class. In this section, we are going to discuss about the oxidative stress. Good morning. To continue with our earlier class, this section we are going to discuss about the oxidative stress, diabetes mellitus, and the antioxidants. Now, what is meant by the oxidative stress? Now, already we have discussed about the generation of the free radicals or the reactive species and the role of the antioxidants in our body. Now, if we see this figure, this ROS or the RNAs they are generating in our body through the different processes. Either it may be the in vitro or it may be the in vivo condition. That means inside our body, that is the endogenous or the exogenous sources. Similarly, the different antioxidants present in our body, they are playing an important role to maintain the level of the free radicals in a normal level. Now, oxidative stress is a condition where the level of ROS is increasing and level of antioxidants it is decreasing. Now, it can be occurred by the two processes. Either there is a depletion of the antioxidants, so the generation of the ROS it will be increases, or if the generation of the ROS is increases but antioxidant level is remains same. So, in the both the cases, there will be the high level of the generation of the ROS, and as we have already discussed that increased generation of the ROS can cause the different diseases in our body, which is this particular situation which is known as the oxidative stress. Now, as we have told that this ROS can able to cause the lipid peroxidation, damage of the DNA. They will cause the degradation of the mitochondria, and they will also may cause the protein oxidation. Similarly, as we have already discussed that free radicals induced oxidative stress can cause the damage to the heart, skin, kidney, joint, lungs, brain, immune system, blood vessel, multi-organ, eyes, etc., and they can involve into the pathogenesis of the different diseases. Now coming to the diabetes mellitus, what is mean by the diabetes mellitus? Now diabetes mellitus, it is characterized by hyperglycemia which is occurs due to the abnormality of the carbohydrate, protein or the lipid metabolism. That means fat metabolism. Now this diabetes mellitus nowadays it is increasing in our country as well as the in world in a very pandemic manner. And this diabetes mellitus it is not only causing the loss of health sector revenue, but also it is affecting into the public health because they are responsible for the mortality and the morbidity. Now this diabetes mellitus mainly categorized into the four types, that is the type 1 diabetes mellitus, that is the insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, type 2 diabetes mellitus, not insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, other specific type. Actually these are the things mainly caused due to the any operation, any toxicity by the chemicals or the drug, and the gestational diabetes mellitus. These particular cases, the hyperglycemia is observed into the third trimester of the pregnant woman, that means after the 28 weeks, and after the delivery again blood sugar level comes down to the normal. Now if we see about the majorly type 1 diabetes mellitus and type 2 diabetes mellitus, type 1 diabetes mellitus it is also called as a autoimmune disorder. Clear? Autoimmune disorder. Why it is the autoimmune disorder? Because genetic susceptibility or the environmental factor or infection and disease, they will responsible into the autoimmune process which is called the destruction of the beta cell. Now due to the destruction of the beta cell, the body is not able to generate the insulin, so that it will cause the diabetes mellitus, and in this case we require the insulin as a treatment to the particular patient. That means management of the diabetes mellitus. So this is called as a type 1 diabetes mellitus. In case of the type 2 diabetes mellitus, Mainly type 2 diabetes mellitus, it can be occurred due to the decreased insulin secretion. Now due to the a number of factors, if there is a decrease into the insulin secretion, of course we can say that they will hamper the effect which is occurs due to the insulin, and that will increase the blood sugar level or insulin resistance. Now in case of the insulin resistance, the production of the insulin is normal or it is more than the normal, but body or the tissues are not responding to the insulin, so that is called as a insulin resistance. So these are the two reasons for the type 2 diabetes mellitus. Now coming to the diabetes mellitus, and we can say that how the diabetes mellitus is occurring. Now if we see that here we can observe that there is a generation of the superoxide radicals and the hydroxyl radicals, H2O2, already whatever we have already discussed. Now if there is a increased concentration of the these ROS, they will cause the oxidative stress, already what we have discussed, and also responsible for the endothelial dysfunction. Now oxidative stress, whenever there will be the oxidative stress, these are the normal process which we have already discussed into the diabetes mellitus, so I will not going to repeat it here. So it will cause the disturbance into the normal process through which glucose is regulating in our body. It may be the IKKB or the NF-KB pathway, or it may be the MAPK or the other serine kinase pathway. So due to this condition, insulin receptor, and through this different process, that is the IRS, PI3K or the ATK pathway, GLUT4 is the important which is involved into the regulation of the glucose, that means transportation of the glucose. Now whenever there is oxidative stress, this particular process it will be hampered, and it will cause the decreasing the glucose transport and the metabolism of the glucose. As a result, there will be the glucose resistance, or you can say that glucose level it will be increases. Similarly, if there is a obesity, or due to the oxidative stress, different type of pro-inflammatory mediators, it may be the TNF alpha or the interleukin 6, that is the CD-active proteins. These are the things that will be increasing, and they will also responsible for the that is the altered glucose transport activity and the metabolism. Now this oxidative stress also, this is also another important mechanism. They will cause the mitochondrial dysfunction, and due to the mitochondrial dysfunction, there will be the increased fatty acid oxidation and the decreased ATP generation. This in turn again they will cause the glucose resistance and the hyperglycemia, which is involved into the diabetes mellitus. So here we can observe that oxidative stress to the different pathway, they are involved into the diabetes mellitus. Now coming to the, as we know that diabetes mellitus also responsible for the different type of the diabetes complication. Now here if we see that in that case, if you see the different types of the antioxidant, depletion of the antioxidant. Now due to the depletion of the antioxidant, they will result to the oxidative stress. Now whenever we are discussing about the diabetes complication, there is a involvement into the major three pathway. There is the PKC pathway, and through this PKC pathway we can observe that there is a increase into the different type of inflammatory mediators or pro-inflammatory mediators, and they will result the different types of the, or they will involve into the different types of the disease condition. It may be the cardiomyopathy, macular edema, capillary occlusion, or renal failure, neuropathy, etc., etc. Similarly, if we see about the polyol pathway through this sucrose is producing, through this again there is the increased production of this sucrose due to the high level of the glucose in case of the diabetes mellitus. So they will cause the increase into the NADPH, decrease into the NADP. ROS it will be increases, GSS it will be decreases. As a result, they will cause the different vascular and the eye complications or the diseases. Next is in case of the hexosamine pathway. Again, there is a due to the increased glucose, there will be the increased fructose 6-phosphate generation. As a result, we can say that there is through this hexosamine pathway there is a deterioration of the beta cell function, genes transcription for the different inflammatory or the pro-inflammatory mediator, then mRNA and the protein kinase expression, and this is again related to the vascular complication. Now most importantly, AGE pathway, or these are the free radicals, that is the free radicals it will cause due to the increased generation of the free radicals. Now in these particular cases, what we can observe that if there is a more generation of the AGE, then what it will happens, there is the, if you see that there is a increase into the collagen cross linking accumulation into the glomeruli, then different again inflammatory and the pro-inflammatory mediators are involved, which is again involved into the different vascular complication. So this, you can say that this mainly it is occurring because these are the advanced glycation end product. This AGE, this is the advanced glycation end products, and as a result they can cause the vascular complication. Now whenever we are talking about the exogenous antioxidant, these are the antioxidant it is we are taking from the outside of the body. Now exogenous antioxidants are the helpful for the human body, and they are act in synergy with the endogenous antioxidant, and these are the like vitamin C, vitamin E, beta carotene, different flavonoids, phenols, anthocyanidin, etc., etc. These are the different sources of these antioxidants, so I will not go through the details. As we know that these are the different sources of the different exogenous antioxidants, and this is the mechanism how the exogenous antioxidant playing a important role. They are involved into the quenching or the neutralizing of the free radicals. They are scavenging, that is the superoxide anion, hydroxyl radical. They are producing the reducing power ability. They are stabilizing the membrane integrity. They are quenching the singlet oxygen. They are quenching the H2O2. They are act by the pro-antioxidant mechanism, etc., etc. So from this what we can understand that through this antioxidant, whenever we are consuming the antioxidant, they can confer the beneficial effect, and it will be useful to prevent the disease condition.